Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be using this 15 by 30 inch Artist Loft canvas to do a fun dump and swirl with the ribbon pour on top of it. So I'm going to be using these Deco Arts enamels and some pre-pour paint, ready to pour, with some Artist Loft soft body for my background. I'm also going to be adding some Flood Foetrol to just 3 of the colors. The magenta, let me see, some of the Artist Loft black, not in the background, and then this crimson. So that's going to be for the ribbon pour only. So those 3 colors I'll be using the ribbon pour. All the colors today will be cut with the Flood Foetrol. The ready to pour colors, I just mix 1-to-1 paint to Floetrol. This background would be about a 2.5 part Floetrol, 1 part paint, and then the flood color will just be the same but with a bit more water in it, just to make it a little thinner than the rest of the colors. Now the Deco Art paint is quite a bit thicker than even the Artist Loft soft body, so you're going to be using at least 2.5 parts to 3 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint with probably a little bit more water than you would, especially in your ready to pour paints. So here I'm just going to get my canvas ready to go, and we'll listen to some music and I'll touch base on the other side. Alrighty, a little bit of torch action, and we're ready to go with my first color. This is white satin enamel. It usually provides the best cell action, so that's the Deco Art satin enamel. 2.5 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint with a bit of water. Okay, I think we'll go magenta next. This does not have any of the Flood Foetrol. There's no silicone or anything like that in it at all. None of these colors have that. Here's a blue metallic. Here's some copper. And this is like a rose metallic. Now the second color I put down, the magenta, is not the Deco Art. That's one of the ready to pour Artist Lofts. It's just the real bright magenta. And finally some dark blue metallic. Okay, so now I'm going to take my get my dump color ready, but first I want to blow some of the air bubbles out of this with the torch. And now I'm ready to try to cover as much of that paint up with the black dump color as possible. Now once I got this covered, I'm going to start tipping to and fro, and getting it to pour off the edge and then back to center, then get the corners to pour off, back to center. You'll see what I'm talking about, but you want to keep moving the paint back to center so you kind of keep an eye on where the void is in the center, where you see it now. So I'm going to go forward and then move it back so I keep my excess paint in the middle. I can see how fast it's moving. So you can see that's why I make the dump color thinner to make it run faster. So this is actual time here, so this is how fast I'm actually pouring it off the canvas. Going to that corner, stop. Go the opposite direction, get my mass of paint that is kind of I want to keep that towards the middle again. So I'm gonna push off this corner. And you just keep doing that, back and forth, till you get all the color off the canvas. And then the last thing you do is tip it back so that the void is in the center, or wherever you want it. You don't have to have it in the center. All right, so I just about got all the color poured off. I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit, and then you'll be able to see a time lapse of the cells popping through from the colored layers that are below the dump color, the black on top. Now I'm just gonna be getting the majority of the paint back to the center, because I kind of kept an eye on that. I want that to be in the middle on this particular painting. So you can use a torch, and that will kind of accelerate by popping bubbles. That'll bring the colors that will float to the top. So you can see it's working really well here. And my plan is to do a ribbon pour right down the middle of this. Again, it's a 15 by 30 inch. It looks small, but it's just the angle. Okay, so I'm ready with my ribbon pour. I'm starting with the ready to pour mixed 1-to-1 with some Floetrol. And I'm just kind of doing a random ribbon down the middle. Now that does have the Floetrol in it. These ribbon colors, I do have 1 drop per mixed ounce. So I have like 3-ounce cups. There's my can. 3-ounce cups. So I have 3 drops in each one of the colors that are already mixed with the Floetrol and water if there's water. The next color I'm going to use is the metallic blue, and I'm going to show you I'm adding some Flood Foetrol. So I just dipped this little, it's a rubber tipped paintbrush, into my Foetrol and dropped 3 drops in there in a 3-ounce mix. Okay, now the reason I added some water is I'm trying to thin it out a little bit so it doesn't just sink into the other colors. You notice the magenta is floating, which is good. That's what I want. I'm going to try to get this to float on top of the magenta instead of sinking right through. It being a metallic compared to the ready to pour magenta, I thought it would be a little heavy, a little dense, and would probably just disappear, which it might anyway. A lot of times you put these colors on afterwards and they just sink into the previous color. So I'm kind of sitting back and watching what's going on. Now I can see already from the Foetrol, I'm getting some action, like a shadowing effect of the blue metallic on the magenta around the edges of it. So I'm just trying to get a real skinny black line on here. I like to play with those. You'll see them at the end. A lot of times they'll just disappear, but you'll still see where they were. It'll leave like a ghost line, which I think are interesting. Again, this black has the Foetrol mixed with it to get some added effects. Sorry, I'm slightly off frame there. Now I'm going with some orange, which also has the Floetrol. Okay, I stirred it up real good off camera, so now I'm ready to continue with the orange. I really like doing the orange against the magenta. Something about that just really makes it jump off the canvas. It's severe contrasty colors. Always experimenting. Alright, so I'm going to tip the canvas and move my paint around, see what I got going on. See where things want to move, where they don't. I'm going to try to avoid just destroying the cells from the dump and swirl, and just try to integrate the ribbon pour with it. These cells will get mushed a little bit, but I'm not going to stretch them out like real far or anything like that. So I'm going to speed this up just a little teeny bit. So now I'm taking my time as I tip it. It's not like when you're doing the dump and swirl and you're trying to get the paint to move real fast. I'm doing this. This is ×4 speed. So when you get to this point, you're just being careful, thinking about your overall composition. Make sure things are centered how you want them or not. But just get things how you want it to dry. So I'm tipping it way forward, and then I'm going to make sure I tip it back so everything's not so distorted. But I want to try to get some color up over that edge. It was starting to be shaped like a Christmas tree or something. I wasn't liking that. I'm going to try to get the whole thing to move back down so there's not such great distortion on the cells from the dump and swirl. Now you can see the ribbon pour is getting distorted. That's okay. That's kind of part of the ribbon pour. Whenever you do a zigzag pattern like that and you tip it back and forth, it's going to get distorted. But that's why you want to get the consistency of your paint as close together as possible. I did a consistency check off camera before I started. I edited that out, but I always do that, especially on ribbon pours. Okay, so we're getting something that's looking pretty wild here. Torch a few times, make sure we got everything how we want it. Looks fairly balanced to me. But I'm noticing that the orange has sunken into the magenta so much you really can't see it. So I want some more orange in the overall composition. So I'm just going to go back and add some more. Move it around just a little teeny bit. Add a little black in there. Again, there's some of the Flood Foetrol in there, so it will mess with those other colors. Alrighty, so I think I got it about how I'm gonna get it. Try to get it centered one more time. And we're gonna zoom in, take a look at this up close because it looks much different up close. One last bit with the torch. Wipe the edges off real quick so they don't dry with big knobs hanging down. Hate that. Get her cleaned up. And here's a close-up. Very intricate cells. There's some micro cells. There's big cells. The way the colors blended together is crazy, I think. Having the really bright orange with no metallic in it, and then the magenta with no metallic mixed in with all the metallics and pearls. It's pretty cool. You can see some of the skinny previous lines of black that sank into it, but left its residual in the metallic colors. It's pretty crazy. I hope you guys like it. I want to thank you for visiting my channel, and please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I'll be making one every Sunday. So thanks again. Thanks to the Surf Zombies for providing music. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.